Ohayo, my name is Marion and welcome to my music channel Agami Karma. I'm wearing the kimono because I'm going to break down my musical projects of the computer game soundtracks in the Asian setting. So first of all, I would like to tell you several words about the game. It's called Guard the Second, and it has 5 settings of different cultural or religious beliefs about the life after the death. So that's why the soundtrack sounds mystical and terrifying. So I wrote music for 3 settings: Asian, Egyptian and Slavic. In this video we're going to break down 2 projects in Asian setting, and you can check the other breakdowns by the link right here. So I guess this is my favorite track in this game, and let's start from the very beginning. I'm going to show you the instruments I'm using, and by the way, you can check them in the description. So in all my projects for this game, I used drones from Omnisphere to create this mystic mood and atmosphere. This is the preset called Shanghai. As a percussion, I used 2 different synthesizers. So the first of them is Taiko Creator by In Session Audio. And I like it very much because it has not only very good sound, but also it has this MIDI section where you can find the ready loop. Grab it here and put on your track. So this is the beginning part. And the second percussion is from the East Asia, and I'm using all the instruments from this library, and it also has ready loops. And it helps me a lot because I'm not an expert in traditional Asian music. And of course, let's look at the melody. Here's again East Asia Library. And this is the Chinese instrument called guzheng. I guess this is how you pronounce it. And to write this melody in Asian scale, I used one of the instruments in Ableton. Go to MIDI effects, scale. And here we have several scales, and in East Asia itself you can also find different scales. So again, if you are not an expert in traditional music of a different country, you can easily find help inside of these instruments. And in the end of some notes I used pitch shifter. And also I have shakuhachi flute here. And you can see here I used incense scale. I like how the tempo of this flute changes over the time. Just listen. It's very, very cool. And also I have some sound effects here. The riser. And some hits. I guess the sound effects and the drone plays a very big role in creating this mystic atmosphere. So let's listen to this part. And next we have the variation of this melody. I added another Chinese instrument, yanjin, and they sound together in some kind of answering questioning manner. Also, I added a cello by Tina Guo. This is one of my favorite virtual instruments because the legato cello sounds very natural, which is rare for the strings section. And it has bass function, but also I added electrical bass to create more deep and profound sound, because I guess none of the natural orchestral instruments can create this sub bass, but you can barely hear it in the mix. I'm using Omnisphere or Scar Bass 3. Without. And also as a pad, I'm using strings. It's Hollywood Studio strings section. I have a lot of orchestral instruments, but I like to use this very preset from the Omnisphere because it sounds and makes very good. Let's look at the harmony. And by the way, I would like to say that I was learning to play piano at school and know the musical theory basis, but I don't have the high musical education, so I can make some mistakes when I'm talking about the harmonies and so on. But I guess it doesn't mean that I cannot write some interesting and good music. And what I'm trying to tell you, that if you think that you are not good enough to write music because you don't have musical education, then you are wrong. Of course, it's easier when you at least can play one of the musical instruments, but the music actually comes from here, and when the music comes from your heart and resonates in your soul, in the end of the day, this is what really matters. So if you were waiting for a sign, here it is. Okay, I hope you didn't bored in this minute of inspiration. So we have here F minor key. The first chord is F minor, D flat major, B flat minor, and C major. The percussion becomes more active. And in the second part, I added Japanese children's choir. So let's listen to this piece. So here we had a drop. In percussion we have a taiko hit and a gong. Shakuhachi for solo, and here I used ready samples and just cut it for the melody I like. And also an interesting sound effect in Yanjin. Here's the maximum reverb and delay. As a reverb, I'm using Valhalla Vintage. This is my favorite reverb. I'm using it in all music. And just the built-in delay with ping pong effect. In the second part, I have Okedo Daiko sample. This is Japanese drum. And next, here goes my favorite part. And I guess the chord progression sounds very, very dramatic. So again, the main harmonical and rhythmic part plays guzheng. I like this part so much that I'm ready to write a song using this music. So the chord progression has changed. So now we have F minor, E flat major, next B flat minor, and C major. The shakuhachi continues to play some melodies from this drop part. And here we have the new instrument. This is full orchestra suspense from the project Sam's Orchestral Essentials. Very dark sound and a little bit different taiko pattern. My client said that this is so groovy that he wants to cry and dance at the same time. And next we have now cello as a solo instrument. Also very, very dramatic. And again, the strings as pads. And in the second part, I added tutti orchestra. This is full orchestra long chords, again by Orchestral Essentials. This is also one of my favorite instruments. I'm ready to put it in every track. And again, the choir. It plays almost the same melody as a cello. And in the culmination part, Kotsuzumi. So let's listen to this part and try not to cry and dance. So let's move on to the next track. So this piece is more active and aggressive, and the track starts from the Yang Jin solo. Guess the melody has very traditional style. Here's the drone from Omnisphere, called Tibetan wave shaping. It's like some kind of singing bowl, and a lot of sound effects. This is Carved Cello by Omnisphere again. Again, there is Taiko Creator, and I added just some additional gong sounds from the same library. This sound can be used for the thriller films. And this is my favorite sample of gong. I don't remember from which library. I'm just using it almost in every project. And again, for this scary sound, I have Bark Cello by Omnisphere. Usually you can hear such sound in some thrillers. And some rhythmic sample of shamisen. This is Japanese instrument. And for more terrifying mood, there's a shouting sample. This is funny because I was looking for this shouting sample and I was searching in the YouTube and found this video called Japan Annual Shouting Match won by Teacher. And there was actually a competition who was the best in shouting. So let's listen to this part. So the next part has two different rhythmic patterns. The first one is more active and the second one some kind of down tempo. And so the melody also is responding to this rhythm. As an instrument, again, I have here Tina Guo. This time she plays not cello, but this is some kind of Chinese violin, erhu, I guess. I took some phrases from this library and cut it into the melody I liked. And in this melodic part, there are strings playing chords. And in this down-tempo part, I have these gong sounds, and again electric bass, this bark cello, and staccato rhythmic strings. I used Spitfire symphonic strings, violas and celli. And also there is tuvan drones in the bass section. Alright, let's listen to this part. So in the second part of this piece, I added long chords orchestra. Very epic. And also the staccato strings played octaves here. And for the second part, full orchestra action. And also there is shakuhachi. So if you choose some scale here except chromatic, you can here see the blue notes. This is the notes from the scale. And the purple are the same notes but with different tempo. So that's why it sounds like a tremolo here. And of course again there is a pitch shift. So from the very beginning it sounds very epic and very, very militant. So the next part is quiet. It's like drop. And there are two drones, Ice Castle Roll in Motion 1 and Coral Reef. And in the percussion there is a different pattern. Again, this scary bark cello. And here comes the different theme, the different melody played by koto, the Japanese instrument. And with Yanchin, they have question and answer pattern. And again, here staccato strings play rhythmic part. And we have here two chords, G minor and B flat minor. So now there is a culmination. The taiko drums are very epic. And they took Yanchin sample. This is very nervous arpeggio. Staccato strings and action orchestra. And again there is shakuhachi and tuvan drones. Let's listen to it. So the chords here are G minor, G flat major, and D major. We have here koto melody. Really noticeable pitch shifting. Again, the same melody of arku. And staccato strings. And the scary epic ending because of these scary sounds again. Gong. This bark cello. And of course, screaming. I understood! Have you seen Charmed? There is a series when Phoebe becomes this scary ghost, banshee I guess, and she was screaming like that. And I called this track Seduction of Kitsune because this Asian violin reminds me of the fox, the nine-tailed fox. So I imagine this kitsune who has this look of a beautiful woman. So she looks out from behind the tree and trying to seduce a man. And the man comes closer and closer. And in the culmination, he finally finds out that he was tricked by a monster. And he's fighting with her, and she wins, as she always does. Okay, so this is all that I wanted to show you. If you have some questions, please write them in the comments. And please subscribe to the channel. I'll have more breakdown videos like this in the future. And here also you can check the Egyptian and Slavic settings as well. I also write songs and play covers right here. My name is Miriam. Good luck and good karma!